Hello and welcome to our presentation today on Get Off to a Good Start with the University of Liverpool. My name is Roxanne Bintrup and I'm a student advisor, and with me today I have David Tom. Hi David.
Hi Roxanne, and welcome to all of our students watching this presentation. Without further delay, let's get going. So what we'll cover in this presentation, we're going to go over the structure of your academic week and show you some navigation skills as well. We're going to show you how to find your module and how you can do certain things straight away to become an active student. And we're also going to show you how you can submit your assignments and also how to use Turnitin.
We're also going to define what participation is, and we'll go over a really hot topic of the online library registration, and then finally we'll close off with approaching your assignments and citing and referencing. So let's just start.
Okay, so this is the structure of your academic week. Each week will begin afresh for you on a Thursday and go right through to the following Wednesday. So it's always important to check what deadlines you have throughout the week, but you can see days 1 labeled through to day 7. So if anyone ever refers to day 3 or day 4, then you can see which day they're referring to. Now, on average, our students report spending about 20 hours a week on their studies, bearing in mind that this can be a little bit extra at the beginning of your studies while you get used to the online platform and to studying again.
And so that kind of falls into the second one, where your workload can vary from week to week. The best thing to do is to check out your syllabus, go ahead, print that off so that you'll know what you have to do each week, what days you have assignments, and this way you can plan ahead. Now, part of that is you will have 1 or 2 discussion questions every week depending on your program. So make sure that you're always looking for that information because you'll have that assignment due and we don't want you to miss it. Now, it may vary if you're in a doctoral program or different master's programs, so definitely keep that going and check. Now, most important that we'll be stressing is participation in class discussion is a fundamental requirement.
Yes, it is, and we will show you in a little bit exactly what we mean by participation. Now, once you've logged in to your Laureate Lens account, you'll see a page that looks like this. And it's very simple. All you need to do to find your module is look in the center of the screen. You'll see it. In this case, it's the student readiness orientation for this student. And just click on that big orange rectangle there that says Enter Classroom, and it'll bring you into your classroom.
So pretty easy.
Yes.
So navigation in the classroom. Sometimes it can be a little confusing when you first start trying to figure out where you're going. So the best thing to do is to look on that left-hand side of your classroom. That navigational panel will help you out tremendously. So the top one is the announcements. Now these are important communications from your instructor on sometimes daily or every other day about updates, what they expect. Sometimes they'll do like a generic, hey, I've noticed students are having issues with this, so they'll bring up important topics there. So make sure that you're always reading that so you're up to date on things.
And then the second one we've highlighted here is your class syllabus. Now it's going to be available like this in all modules, and we recommend that one of the first things you do is to download that and save it. If you click on syllabus, it'll just be there available on the web page, but there'll also be an option just to click for you to get the PDF. Save it to your computer, print it out, go through it so you can see all of your deadlines and requirements. The learning materials will be listed in there as well, so it's really, really useful, and it's great if you're ever in doubt about when your assignments are going to be due. Now, the discussion board there, you can see that's a direct link to all of the discussion forums that are listed in your classroom. So if you just click there, you'll see a big list of all of them. And then that contact instructor is quite self-explanatory. Depending on your class, it may also say contact faculty or contact doctoral tutor, but that's where you can send messages and receive them from your instructor, and also where you get your weekly feedback on what you've done.
And then finally, just for week 1, we have there is week 1. It will change. Maybe you'll see more weeks as time goes on in your module. But here's where you'll find all weekly requirements, and it will also include the learning resources, which is the reading materials for that week. So first thing to do is look at your syllabus, read the announcements, look under week 1, look at those learning resources, and as you can see, there's discussions 1, which we'll definitely go over later.
Yes. Okay, so becoming an active student. Now this is just what we call it, becoming an active student, but when you come into any module and especially the first module, you'll have to do two things straight away. And they're to post a short personal introduction. It may also be referred to as your bio, and to sign the academic honesty declaration with the words "I agree to and accept this declaration." So if you just click on discussion board like we showed you on the previous slide, and then you will see all of the discussion threads listed with the personal introduction and academic honesty declaration, and just go ahead and click on those and then write your personal introduction, sign the academic honesty, and then you are what we call an active student.
Now, most importantly is to read that academic honesty
Yes.
declaration. Don't just sign and agree to it. Make sure that you read and you understand the policies, because you will have to uphold those policies from the University of
Yes,
Liverpool.
exactly. Yes, very good advice.
All right, so discussion question. We kind of touched a little bit on this. You will have 1 or 2 discussion questions every week, depending on your program. It is the starting point for your follow-on participation, and typically you have a weekly deadline of Saturday midnight your time zone. However, this may change depending on your program, so make sure that you are reading the dates.
Yeah, exactly. Some 1 or 2 classes, I know it's Sunday, and then another, 1 or 2 other classes, you have one on Saturday and also one on a Monday in some weeks. So definitely, like Roxanne says, check your syllabus, make sure you're aware of the deadline.
Now, most important is midnight your time zone.
Yes.
So a lot of students get confused with that, David, because they think, oh, on Blackboard it says this time, do I have to adhere to that, or where I live?
Exactly. So the time on Blackboard is going to always be the time that it is on the east coast of the United States. That's just where Blackboard server is located. So you don't need to worry about that. Your instructor will know your location where you're registered with us and your time zone. However, a lot of our students travel a lot for work, very busy. And so if you're ever going to change time zones, it's always best to go to that contact instructor option we looked at earlier. Send your instructor a quick message and say you're traveling to so and so, so your time zone will change by this, so they're aware, so for your submission.
So your initial response to that weekly discussion question must be submitted through both Turnitin and the assigned area of the discussion board. Now, the great thing is if you click on the discussions one, like you saw in the previous slides, it will take you straight to that discussion question. You'll see all of the requirements that you must do and the actual discussion question. And then you'll also have a link for the week forum, which takes you direct to the discussion board. And so we have an example you can see there on the left, and that's the thread. So you would just click on the title of the thread, and then you'll see the discussion question again, posted by your instructor, and then you'll be able to reply to that. Now, the second thing is it will go through your Turnitin, but I believe we go Turnitin a little later.
Yes. Now, submitting through Turnitin. So like Roxanne said, you click on, if it's week 1, discussions 1, or discussions, and then you'll see the discussion question, and underneath you'll see the links for Turnitin, and also probably the link for the weekly forum as well. Now, the Turnitin links will look exactly like they do here at the top of this slide. And you'll notice that there are 2 Turnitin links. Now, in the first module, you have these 2 Turnitin links. You have a draft link and one that is, we call it final submission link, but it does not say draft in front of it. Now, the draft link gives you the opportunity to submit your work and to view your Turnitin report and your originality percentage before your final submission. So if you wanted to change anything in there, you could go back to, say, if you've saved it in Microsoft Word, go back to your Word document, make those changes, and then go back to the second link there, the one that does not say draft, and click on View Complete and submit the work again. So when you click on View Complete, if you're doing it for the first time, you'll have to agree to the conditions and everything, but then you click on Submit and you'll get this page at the bottom here, Submit Paper by File, Upload, Step 1 of 3, and then you just go through the steps. It's much like attaching something to an email.
Now, normally we recommend that you go ahead and attach, because some programs require different types of citing and referencing, which include their own formatting, and if you copy and paste, unfortunately you will lose your formatting. So go ahead, use the file upload. It's pretty easy. You'll go ahead, title it, write your name in there, click the browse button like David said, like you're just attaching a file to an email, and then click upload.
Yes, exactly. And once you've done it once, you'll be able to do it again and again and again. Now, how to view your report, and also to know that your submission has been successful. If you wait about 5-10 minutes just to be safe, go back, click on View Complete again, and this time it probably won't give you the option to submit. It'll only give you the option to view. which means that your submission has been successful. Now, there's two ways for you to be able to view the report. You can either click on the originality percentage here, like we have in the blue square, or just click on view. And once you've done that, that's going to open up the report that's been generated, like you can see here below.
So as you can see here, it has a similarity index of 14%, which actually isn't too bad. So your instructor is going to be looking at that percentage. They're going to look and see how much is outside resources, which is that 14%, versus your own original words. So the reason why we pointed out the academic honesty declaration is that it kind of ties into the Turnitin report. So if you have a percentage of about 30%, your instructor will automatically open this up, make sure that you are not in breach of that contract with the academic honesty declaration, and have a look. But the good thing here is it will also highlight anything that you matched, and if you've properly cited and referenced, you should be all right.
Absolutely.
Now, it's good to point out that your references will match.
Yes, exactly. And they'll be color coded within your text, and then you'll have that match overview column that you see on the right hand side as well. So it'll break up that 14% into the individual references. And so if it's higher than 14%, if it's a good bit higher, say if it's over 30%, the important thing is use the draft link first, and then view the report, analyze it, go through it, and see why you got that, and then decide whether you need to change what you've written or not before your final submission. And if you have any doubts about it, if you don't quite understand it, just reach out to your instructor, or even better, to your student advisor, and they will be able to talk you through Turnitin and everything and how it works.
So this is a huge one.
Yes.
Defining participation. A lot of students actually miss out on this aspect. So participation is the way in which students engage in the weekly classroom discussion. And this next sentence is super important. Your success will be directly linked to your contributions on the discussion boards. A lot of students think that participation is just actually going into the classroom, and this is actually false. It's making sure that you're meeting that requirement of the minimum of 3 to 5 follow-on participation postings. And this does not include your initial response. So this means that you're responding to 3 to 5 of your fellow classmates over the span of 3 different academic days.
Yeah, now it's important to note that not all courses are like that, but all courses do have a participation requirement that you do have to meet, but they're not all 3 to 5 over 3 separate days. So make sure you look into your syllabus, ask your student advisor or your instructor, and make sure that you know exactly how much participation you're supposed to do. Now, participation is graded separately. Like Roxanne said, it doesn't include your initial response to the discussion question. That's graded separately. And it is a very significant portion of the grade. In some modules, it can be as much as nearly a third of the end of module grade. So it is quite important that you get used to doing it, build it into your weekly routine, to be checking the discussion board and to be replying to other students. In fact, it's good to treat it like a deadline. You know you have to do it each week. Maybe pencil in your weekly schedule what days you're going to do it and try to meet those. It's not the end of the world if you don't meet those exact days, but do try to do it so it gets to be part of your routine as fast as possible. Now, Roxanne, I like this last point, which is something students do get confused on in the first few weeks, is you do not have to respond and you do not have to read every single post on the discussion board. There can often be well over 100 posts, and it's far too much for you to have to read and then decide which ones that you're going to reply to. So select the posts that you want and you can respond to. And quite often that might be someone who's responded to your initial response, for example. And really do select those ones and then concentrate maybe on 3 or 4 different discussions to begin with, and then narrow it down maybe to 1 or 2 as the days go by. But certainly you don't have to read and respond to everything.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because a lot of students do try to do that and then they feel like they're definitely spending well over that 20 hours studying. Yeah. So like David said, just follow his advice, just pick a few and that will also help you be able to manage your time a little better as well.
Yeah. Now, just to read their post, you quickly click on opposite their name there where it says week 1 discussion question, and then to reply to it, you click on reply and put your reply into the message box.
And in assignments. So a hand-in assignment is a little longer piece of work than an actual discussion question. Now, most students will have this due on Wednesday, midnight, your time zone is again. Hopefully you're all seeing that trend there of midnight, your time zone. And sometimes they may be individual or group assignments, but you'll be able to see that clearly in the instructions. Now, the good thing is hand-in assignments only get submitted via Turnitin. And like you did for the discussion question, you still have the same two options for the draft. And then you also have the initial response, that last one, which you can read right there, which is the week 1 hand-in assignment. So it's pretty easy to identify. You'll also have the same opportunity to view the report and all of that. Now, a good thing is you'll also receive a receipt from Turnitin to your university email account, so you can always check there as well if you want to double check.
Very good point. Now, online library registration. The University of Liverpool does have its own online library. However, you will not be able to access it straight away on the beginning of your first module. You'll have to wait until day 5 or day 6 of week 1, which will be Monday or Tuesday of week 1. And you will receive an email from us with instructions on how to do that when you are able to do it on the Monday or the Tuesday. And those instructions will be sent to your my.ohe.com account, which you can access in your Lens portal. Like I said, it'll have the instructions. It's going to ask you, like you can see on the right hand side here, for your surname, for your card number. Now that is just your student ID that starts with a H and a 000 and then a number, like you can see in the example here. The date of birth, like you have it registered with us, and then you'll have to do this visual verification and click on next and then follow the instructions. But important to remember that you won't be able to do it till the Monday or Tuesday of week 1.
And after, I just also want to point out, once you've clicked next on that registration, you will get to another page, and on the top will be your library user ID. So make sure that you write that down, because you will not receive an email reminding you that that is your account. But the good thing is in the email, it explains that all to you. So make sure you read that, and it also provides helpful tips in case you have issues with registering.
Yeah, and again, any issues with it, contact your student advisor, or you can go directly to the library itself, who also have a help desk.
Okay, so we're kind of switching a little gears here towards approaching your assignments. We know some students, this has been a really long time since maybe you studied, wrote an assignment, so you try to figure out, where do I start?
Exactly. It can be daunting in the beginning. A lot of reading to do, a lot of writing to do, a lot of things to fix into your daily and weekly schedules. So yeah, we're just going to go over some tips on how you can approach your assignments. So first, analyze the question you're being asked. Read through all the weekly resources in your textbook or articles in the library. Always taking notes, making sure that you're following it. Do your own research outside of those weekly readings as well sometimes, and then obviously write your response and submit. So, like the first one we said, is to analyze the question. Read and identify the key words. So we just have an example here. We put some of the key words in bold. But so highlight them, underline them, memorize them, whichever, and yeah, and then start writing your question. I always liked, when I was studying, to read the question a couple of times first, start to formulate in my mind how I'm thinking of answering it. Do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? What argument am I going to put forward, etc., etc., and then start going off and looking for the resources that are going to help me.
Next is, you can always look at the weekly reading materials or the learning resources. These learning resources are the weekly readings in your textbooks and direct links provided to journal articles. So it's always good to read that, because it will give you a general idea about where the information is coming from and helps you to stimulate ideas on what to look for in maybe an area that you want to go in. Now, the good thing is once you've looked at those, maybe you can find an author who was helpful, and you can just start searching by their name, because maybe they've written something else.
Yes, exactly. Now, it's important to stress here, just going back to our last point about the library, it will not be a requirement of you to use the library in week 1 for your week 1 discussion question. So you won't have to use it before you can register for it. But and then to add to Roxanne's point as well, do take note of authors that you find particularly enjoyable to read, or that you found very useful in answering questions. Take notes of them, and also look in their resources as well. So the the other authors and studies that they've researched that are in the bibliography or the reference list, maybe even an article that you've read, and then search those readings as well, and then you'll be well on your way to becoming a very good researcher. Yeah.
Now, the most important thing is do not try to read everything at once. Make sure that you prioritize your weekly readings. Otherwise, you will be spending countless hours just reading and feeling
Yeah.
like you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. And especially if you've been out of study for a long time, your reading academic reading skills might be a bit slower, so it's take you a few weeks to get up to speed reading level and to be able to skim through things as well. So yeah, prioritize for sure.
And one thing to help you is to take notes and organize your work before you even start the writing. So maybe while you're reading something is a great idea, you really like it, make sure you take a note and write down that resource that you got that from, because that can help you out as well. So researching. This is an important part of a master or doctoral program. You must do research, but what and where to research? When researching, you should concentrate on using peer-reviewed resources. You'll hear that a lot. Now, a peer-reviewed source, such as a journal article, a textbook, or even an ebook, is a source that has been evaluated professionally by experts and colleagues in the field that you're studying. So these are people who are in the field, they're experiencing, they're writing down maybe some things that they've noticed, and their peers are evaluating to make sure that it's valid information.
Yes, exactly. Very, very good to use peer-reviewed resources all the time. Now, when you're searching for peer-reviewed resources, and that's all you're going to find in the library is peer-reviewed resources, search by keywords. So if you are searching for a general title, just put in, or a general area, just put in the keywords there. You don't need to use those small words such as the or and, because that's going to expand your search to lots of things that include those words. So that's how a library search engine works. Now, we'll give you a broad range of material. So the first time, if you're very new to this kind of thing on an online library, the first time it's going to give you maybe a very broad range of material, and not all of it will be relevant at all. Because you could be searching for something, a title that could be quite generic and relevant to a lot of different fields that have nothing to do with your field either. But this will help you to maybe think about what you're searching for, to narrow it down and combine keywords in different ways or in different sequences, and then looking for the authors as well. And yeah, the fewer results you get, so the first time you might get a couple of thousand results. Hey, if you just type in management, for example, you might just get endless results. But yeah, the fewer results, the more closely related to your question. And then also, once you do start getting the good results, start reading the little abstracts that are available there. So there'll be a little paragraph available in the search results, and you can see if that article or whatever it is suitable for the question you're trying to answer.
The nice thing about abstracts is most of them will include keywords in them. So you'll see the abstract, then underneath it will see keywords. So you can try to match that and say, oh, that's actually what I was looking for, or no, that's not at all the direction I wanted to go. So that can also help you when you're doing your next search, to use their ideas to help you out a little. Now, we also have some information on further reading. It kind of covered what David and I said earlier. If you find an author who was helpful or very interesting, or maybe who was completely against your idea, that you find, oh, this is a great pros and cons, make sure you search by their name, because they've written one article, as are they've written others.
Yes.
And examine the reference lists by bibliography of other articles, as they will contain lots of other related materials. And if you've noticed that one particular journal keeps coming up, you can always just search for that journal as well.
Yeah, and then not just even the authors that you've read, but on the discussion board with the other students, when you're reading through their initial responses and their references, and if you see something that you really caught your eye, something that you liked, then search for that author, go down to the reference list and search for that author as well in that article or whatever it is, and have a read of that as well. So lots of good ways of finding extended reading materials there.
Now, before we go on, I just want to make a point. A lot of students find Wikipedia to be extremely helpful.
Yes.
However, that is not a peer-reviewed source.
No, it's not. It's quite unreliable, actually. Yes.
Yeah, anybody can go in and make an entry. I can make an entry about David, and all of it could be false. So you wouldn't want to reference that, because then it's not correct and peer-reviewed material.
But you can use Wikipedia as a starting point sometimes. So if you just do a general Google search for something and you do read the Wikipedia page, Then at the end of the Wikipedia page, it's going to have the links where all of the information on the page came from. And so go to those links and chase it up and find out. And then if you find that to be a reliable source, then you can use that in your references. But do not use Wikipedia as a primary resource in your work.
But what you could do is take some of that information and come to the library.
Exactly. Now, here in the library, this is what the library homepage looks like. You can access online journals, a limited array of ebooks. The reason is they're limited is that most books are still not available in ebook form. New books are, but anything published a while ago still isn't available in ebook form. Lots of archival materials, lots of different databases across all the programs and disciplines that we offer, and some really good search engines like Google Scholar, EBSCOhost as well.
Now, David's already point is just remember to use those keywords when searching and check the abstracts of the results that you may think will suit. And many articles can be downloaded to your computer so you can view them anytime. Now, this is a really good thing, especially if you travel a lot for work. So you can always download them, and if you know, hey, I'll be traveling, Monday and Tuesday, won't have really good internet connectivity, but if you prepare early for, say, for example, your hand-in assignment, if you download those journal articles to your computer, you can still read them without being connected to the internet.
Exactly, and in some of our modules, not all, but some of them, depending on your program, the learning resources for each week are already available from day one. And they might even be in the syllabus as well. So you could even get ahead of yourself and download a lot of articles, and like Roxanne was saying, save them, and you'll be able to study on the go as well if you're traveling a lot. Now, just you see this picture of the homepage of the library. Always log in first, of course, or else you won't be able to search for anything. The second tab along the top here, we have the little red rectangle around it, e-resources. That's the best place to go because it gives you a few different options for searching. And then use these search boxes to find your specific article or the collection or database that you want to search in. Now, we do have lots of short tutorial videos on using the library, made by both ourselves and student advisor team, and by the library as well. So if you're having trouble, contact us and we will send you the link to those, and they'll be very helpful for you.
Okay, so after you've completed all those steps, sometimes, just getting an idea of a structure of an assignment can help. Remember, this is just a suggestion.
Yes.
Some programs follow certain types of citing and referencing guides that must follow certain structures, so this is just, like I said, a suggestion. So the first thing you're going to want to do is an introduction. Make brief notes of what you want to include in your introduction, stating the main point you wish to make. So what is your main idea, your main theory or hypothesis that you're trying to point out, and just you're going to introduce it.
Exactly. And then, once you've done that, you start making your way through it to the body of your text, where you're going to explain your main ideas again, but you're going to support them with evidence. With the University of Liverpool, they do like you to use a little bit of your own experience now and again, so that is welcome. But it's important that you do support things with evidence, with research, that are going to back up your theories and back up your ideas. You may want to use, like Roxanne said a little bit earlier, pros and cons, so for and against, and explain why. And so just explain everything in the main body of your text. Opposing views, again, like I just said, are always welcome. It shows that you're doing a wide range of research. You're not just being linear and focusing on one way of looking things and one argument or one theory, and instructors do welcome that. And then as you run through it, you get to your conclusion. It's important that your conclusion doesn't just repeat what you've said in the rest of it, but it does bring everything to a conclusion, that you really prove your point, or you finish your theory in the conclusion.
Yep, that's just one suggestion.
Yeah.
Feel free to use whichever one you want that works
Exactly.
for you. So hopefully that helps. When and how to use reference. So this is a really hot topic.
Yes, it is.
So references are used to demonstrate the sources you have used for specific data and arguments. You will need to provide full referencing for any quote. So if you express something even indirectly or as a paraphrase, or if you take something directly that you've read or even somebody said, you need to make sure that you give them proper credit. Think about it when you're at work. If you do some great job, you don't want your colleague to get the credit for it. You want your boss to recognize you.
Yes, exactly. It's the exact same theory. Yeah, exact same principle there for sure. So any statement of fact or item of data or maybe some research that you've done as well and you brought it in, it's not generally known. It has to be cited and referenced as well. And using references to compare different writers' point of view, especially to indicate that you are aware of other writers' arguments that supports or contradicts yours. So that means referring to another author's name in it. You're still going to have to put that in your reference list as well. So it's always important. So if in doubt, always do an in-text citation, always put it in your reference list, and that way you can never be accused of anything like plagiarism. So we use a little term called the Big Three here with student experience at the University of Liverpool. So that is basically, if it's a direct quote, always make sure you put it in quotation marks. Then make sure it's an in-text citation next to the quote. You also have to do that when paraphrasing, i.e. when it's not word for word. And then at the end of it, put a full reference in your reference list.
So, to conclude everything, we went over how to plan for your studies, how to become an active student, because that is definitely something you'll be doing every module, your requirements for this week to help you out, and a way of approaching your assignment.
Yes, now check out more details about your textbook, if you have not already ordered it, go to the Centre for Student Success on this website here, go to New Students, and then first step, order your textbooks, and you'll be able to find your textbook for your first module. And then there's the link to our online bookstore if you wish to use that to purchase them. And if you need any more information, any trouble, contact your enrollment advisor or your student advisor if you're already in the class.
Thank you, students, for taking time to listen to our presentation today. We hope that it's been helpful for you.
Yes, thank you very much for listening to us. If you have any questions, please do contact somebody. Otherwise, good luck with the first few weeks of your studies.